The San Francisco 49ers are making a major culture change. And I want to go back and I want to clarify, because the major culture change, the rebuild, to gain an understanding of how this all works out. As you know, I released an article that says the 49ers have racism in the building. Now, the article was moved right out of context, as I'm calling the 49ers a racist. I have never called anyone on the 49ers a racist, and it's a clear definition of what it means. The definition of racism is not the same definition as being a racist. Now, whether known or not, the San Francisco 49ers and myself, born and raised in San Francisco and understanding the entire organization and having played the game of football and understand what the players go through, I have a clear understanding of how one can feel that this is not possible. When you look at the San Francisco 49ers, as Jusic just said, Kyle Jusic coming on back to the 49ers, 49ers are under a very, very, very restrictive environment of capital, which means they set a record. They set a record of $321 million. That's an NFL record, never been done before, of the teams that have signed the San Francisco 49er players. Now let's go a step further than that, because I want to make sure I really clarify. When you have a situation as the 49ers are doing a major rebuild, and a perception is a reality, okay? And you got to really understand that. I'll use a comparison. The Indiana Fever have Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever are a good franchise, a great franchise rebuilding. But the Indiana Fever are projecting a franchise that's coming across as racism. That's not calling anyone in the Indiana Fever a racist. It's the culture and environment you're projecting. The culture and environment of the San Francisco 49ers is rebuilt when Kyle Shanahan, as I was explaining, is all of the skilled players are Caucasian. And all the other players who are getting cut are African Americans. And this is a bad look. And I go all the way back to the San Francisco 49ers, to Dr. Harry Edwards. You got to look at the sociology of professional athletes and what is projected. The 49ers, with their extreme cap restriction, and this is an odd behavior, but I was reading as it came across with the re-signing of Kyle. There's no money to go out. In the NFL, when you have capital, and the way teams of the Philadelphia Eagles, and you just saw the Cincinnati Bengals, when it came to Debo and Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers should have locked them up with an extension a long time ago. When it came to Brock Purdy, you should have locked Brock Purdy up with an extension a long time ago. The 49ers have come late to the party, which is the opposite of what the Philadelphia Eagles have done. And they've worked it in a way that it's kind of become an own self-destruction. Now, as I communicate with you about Kyle Shanahan, I want you to understand one thing about Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, this is his first head coaching job. Kyle Shanahan has not been a high school coach, has not been a college coach, okay? He's just been a professional coach, and this is the first coaching job. As a leader of men, he has not led another NFL team as leader of men. And it's puzzling because it seems that the media has really taken a kind liking to Kyle Shanahan, and I don't know what that really means, but for the first time I saw a beat writer of the San Francisco 49ers tell a former player, Audrey Thomas, you have no idea what you're talking about. Now that was bizarre to me, because how would somebody in the media be able to tell a player in the National Football League, to Aubrey Thomas, you have no idea what you're talking about, which is virtually impossible because that player's in the meetings. He says, everyone else is discovering what I've known. Now, this is a culture that was built without the 49ers even knowing it. And I will tell you, with Kyle Shanahan, he may not have known it, but I went through and understand the culture of what has happened. The culture does not really make sense, but if the 49ers want to call it the rebuild and don't want to pay anybody, then that's what it is. And if everybody wants to say the 49ers gave away all their players, yes, they did. And every one of these players, I will tell you this with Robert Saleh, and I'm going to talk about the culture and the changing of the culture, and understand the culture. It's when you have a culture that's projecting that white players or Caucasian players are going to be all the skill positions, and if you look at it, the players who have gotten paid have been a certain gender as well. So now you got to look at this. Now you got Brandon Ayuk. And the report comes out April. They owe Brandon Ayuk $23 million. And Brandon Ayuk's not worried about it because Brandon Ayuk got paid and Brandon Ayuk's going to get the money. It's guaranteed. But if the 49ers decide, well, we're going to trade him, then it's just like everything else. You can be buddy-buddy in an organization, but when it comes time to get paid. Now, my other position, the NFL Rooney Rule, and Robert Saleh, I'll go here again, just as Steve Wilkes was, is a top Rooney Rule candidate. Robert Saleh has success this year. Robert Saleh will be in another position to take another job. And guess what? The 49ers are going to need another defensive coordinator. Okay, but you must understand the Rooney Rule is there for a reason. And the NFL coaches, no one's crying racism on the Rooney Rule. We understand what it is and how it works. We understand you're going to get the toughest job and it may not have a quarterback or you may not have a full team like Aaron Glenn up there in the Jets. We understand that you're going to have to do a job with less, but that's okay because we get the job done with the less. But when it comes that time for that Rooney Rule, and the 49ers stand by the Rooney Rule, that's why I didn't understand the firing of Steve Wilkes. But when it comes time that things have happened that have not been in the same kilter as it happened for other players on the 49ers, and that's the culture change that the 49ers have. You gave 3 first-round draft picks for Trey Lance, but you cut him like a piece of horse meat like it didn't matter. Okay, these are other things. You gave Gus Armstead the opportunity to have the entire team, how everybody was telling everybody he's the glue, he's the one that holds us together, but now you release him. And I want everyone to understand the 49er players are not joining random teams. The 49er players are going to go play for Rooney Rule coaches. And if you look at the teams that the 49ers are signed with, they're signing with guys that are on that Rooney Rule. And let me tell you why they're going to sign with guys that are on that Rooney Rule. And I'll make it very plain because it's not something that's going to be any different. When you get a Vance Joseph and he's up there in the Denver Broncos and they got 2 good coaches, Sean Payton created a culture, but Vance Joseph is a father figure. When you get there and you understand when you have Anthony Lynn, and Anthony Lynn was on the New York Jets, and you looked at it, they had a choice. Do we cut Anthony Lynn or keep Anthony Lynn? The New York Jets that year made a decision that Anthony Lynn was the best locker room guy we could have to hold the glue together. And you can't cut a guy like that because you're going to lose your locker room. Well, the 49ers didn't lose the locker room. Okay, and you look at Kyle, did he lose it right? No, he's lost the whole team. The whole team is gone. 49ers aren't paying anybody. Now, this is after holdout money that you held back, that you carried over from the cap, and nobody's getting paid. So this whole reset is a 5-year building plan, and you have to build from a culture of the 49ers. Folks, I'll be adamant and tell you, Kyle Shanahan is not from Stanford, okay? And Kyle Shanahan is not Mike Shanahan. And I don't need notes to go over the 49ers history of Mike Shanahan working with Steve Young, and Steve Young running through 300 plays prior to the Super Bowl. Mike says, let's run them through again. I do have a challenge with Brock Purdy not having the ability to call his own game. I have a challenge with Brock Purdy not having the ability to audible. I have a problem with Brock Purdy not having the ability to run a 2-minute offense. And whoever the next coach that comes in, Shanahan, Brock Purdy may have to be tied for him because Brock Purdy is dependent on Shanahan. We don't know what Kyle Shanahan could do, but I saw Brock Purdy not even win a game without Deebo Samuel, right? And you're not going to get another Deebo. Deebo is a one man that can hit that bubble screen and come off it, and you won't get another one. But you're going to get a lot of guys injured, and the 49ers do get a lot of players injured running through that zone read scheme. I call it reckless coaching, but the bottom line is this. If you want to know what it's like to be a running back for the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver, just walk across Interstate 80 east or west, close your eyes and walk across the freeway because that's what you're doing. You can get on Highway 101, okay, and I don't care how anybody spins it around, McCaffrey has toted that rock for the 49ers. And I'll tell you, he's coming back a step slow. But when I knew Kyle Shanahan had a different agenda, when I saw on a national TV game where Shanahan wanted to get a record versus winning the Super Bowl, I saw Fred Warner labor like a wounded duck, and nobody shut it down to understand this is the best linebacker in the National Football League. These are things that changes fast, and whenever you have one-year players, as the 49ers continue to sign one-year players, if you're not winning and there's no bonus money, NFL players don't play on one-year contracts. They don't play 17 games. The 49ers have become a hodgepodge. We're not going to retire any jerseys. All these guys are leaving. And I'll tell you this, you got to bring in new people, and guess what? You've got to set a standard. And that's what we're going to find out. But I remember Chip Kelly, same year we hosted the Super Bowl in 2016, went 2-14. Kyle Shanahan as a head coach is 70-62. If he doesn't win this year, he could be producing a losing record for the San Francisco 49ers. So when I tell you they have a culture of racism, they didn't pay any of the players. And really, if you look at it, the African-American players knew they weren't going to get paid. They saw it a mile in advance. When it comes to being buddy-buddy, that's one thing. But when it comes to an NFL contract, that's another. And when you talk about the genius Bill Walsh, he didn't have a problem with it. He'd go in there and tell Roger Craig, time is up. Okay, but we're going with the new back, and guess what? The Raiders are waiting on you. Ronnie Lott, the Raiders are waiting on you. Jerry Rice, the Raiders are waiting on you. Tom Rathman, the Raiders are waiting on you. I've seen it from end to end. I've seen it all the way back when I've seen Mike Singletary try to coach Alex Smith. Had no business doing it. Andy Reid got a hold of him and solved that problem. I've seen it time and time and time again. The 49ers could have made it easy on themselves drafting Aaron Rodgers. They didn't. They took Alex Smith. Tried to come back and repair that. They couldn't do it. I've seen coaches come and coaches go. I've seen general managers from Donahue to Trent Baalke. I've seen them all come and go. I've seen Jim Harbaugh, one of the best coaches and best coach the 49ers have ever had, leave the 49ers because of control. He wanted to get the shop for the groceries and pick the players, as we have let Kyle Shanahan have done. I've also seen John Lynch, who is from Stanford, and I'll remind everyone, Bill Walsh from Stanford, Jim Walsh from Stanford. Kyle Shanahan's not from Stanford. Kyle Shanahan's never been a head coach. This culture has got away, and they got to bring it back, and I saw John Lynch on the transcript after losing the Super Bowl tell Kyle Shanahan, go do what you do. John Lynch has been doing damage control because he has a reputation and respect of the NFL. But keep in mind, it was Kubiak, Gary Kubiak, who gave Kyle Shanahan his first job. This is a coaching by committee, and it's just unbearable to know what the outcome is going to be. I'm Money Mike, and I do the Money Mike Syndicated podcast. I don't do it for trying to get more views or anything like that. I live by what I stand on and what I believe. And if I look at the San Francisco 49ers from the time I was 1972 to 76 to 80 to 85 to 1990, going all the way up, the 49ers culture has changed. We are a revolving door, 1 year free agents in and out, do whatever you have to do, and let's just get by this year. I don't think that's what the 49ers can do. Others feel this is a rebuild. This is a reset. This is normal. Folks, a rebuild and a reset, let me tell you about Andy Reid. The Super Bowl champion just lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me put it to you plain. Andy Reid has coached the Philadelphia Eagles, got them to the Super Bowl, got them to the NFC Championship year in and year out, and didn't really rebuild into a bad year. They just wanted more. Andy Reid goes to Kansas City Chiefs, rebuilds, retools players every year. Okay, he's got Spagnuolo on the defense, got the defense. They'll lose some players too, but they're not going to lose the whole organization. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. I'm here to tell you, just as Dr. Harry Edwards, the sociology of the NFL and the understanding of players and the consciousness of what players' beliefs are. It's different than it was in the 80s, the 90s, or 2000. Players are coming, getting paid, and players have a different mindset, and Generation Z has a completely different mindset of culture. I will be open and honest. I will stand by it. And I will always accept and be respectful of your comments. The San Francisco 49ers are rebuilding, retooling, and regaining the culture